Who dey?
We made it.
Ladies and gentlemen, roosters and hens, and everything else in between. 3/4 of the Coop Collective is here tonight. We will be joined
Two and a half.
2.5, right. Yeah, not doing great. We will be joined shortly by Super Bowl representing quarterback Joe Burrow on the podcast in a bit. But until
Don't lie. Don't lie to people.
Oh.
2.5. This is
this is 2.5.
I am half of MVF Express, Tyler, here tonight. No dad tonight. He's got the night off. I'm the sick one, but he's got the night off. We'll see how that goes.
Said he was out in the cold all day, so he's probably not feeling too well himself. He's probably
snuggled into his snuggie on the couch.
We've got our trusted producer ready to rock. Great Coops, Josh. And Blake, who's going to have to do some heavy lifting because I'm dying right now. Waddle racing. How we doing, gentlemen? Please don't ask me.
Doing good. I'm doing, I'm hanging in there. How about you, Josh?
I'm good. Some good football today.
Look like you're cold. It looks like it's cold there where you're at.
Yeah. Basement's a little chilly.
Oh, okay.
Tyler carries the show. Yes. Thank you. Some goddamn respect. I'll take it.
Sheesh.
On most nights.
Anyway,
COVID got me, guys. I'm hanging tough, but
this is been Tyler's like his flu game.
My flu game, not a flu, but flu game. Yeah.
I had one of those a few weeks back. It was wild.
Yeah, well, it's not transmissible over the airwaves, so we're good.
Yeah.
All right, so a fun week of racing we had.
Yeah, every day.
A
lot of the day, but mostly chick races. So I know some of those coops out there, like myself, I've only got the 16
towards the
now.
Towards the end of the week.
So towards those B races hard. And those definitely fast.
Definitely towards the end of the week, the chick races started to slow down at filling up. And then once they're spread out, A, B, C, I think you're going to have 4 different classes, chick, A, B, and C, which I think they'll all be a few minutes to get into, even when it's public racing. When it's that many classes.
That's the one thing we still don't really understand yet is what the automation is going to look like. That's the big thing we're hoping to see this week. Paid races went off finally on Friday pretty well. We had a little bit of a hiccup to start, but then they righted the ship, which was good to see. And if we can get a little more paid racing locked down, if they can get that part locked down, then automation's our last step.
Yeah, so they did mention that as the races go on, the pecking order classes will be mostly paid with some free sprinkled in, and then most of the chick races will be free. Yeah. Correct. So I imagine that this week, we'll probably see a little more of a mix like that, perhaps, where we'll see the classes branch out, and those are the paid races, and then the chick races will be the free races that they give out. And they kind of did that early on when they were testing things way back before the end of the year. But yeah, I think that'll be a decent, hurdle that I'd like to see this week is, just seeing more than just 1 or 2 races. Then we could get that drop in 4 or 5 or something like that, and just kind of see, how fast those fill up.
Well, if they race 50 races though, the slower that those filled up, they started stacking up a little bit towards the end.
Races, yeah, because people were
chick races were there. But think about it: if there's more B races, and now there's already A birds out there right now. I saw somebody posted the other day that they have an A bird.
Well, Deli did ask, react to this if you got an A class bird, and I did. Last time I looked, they were getting up there. So there's some out there.
Yeah. So then they're going to start racing those, right? So that's going to free up some of the B races, and the A races they're going to be split up.
Yeah.
Before too long, you're going to have C mixed in there as well. So
yeah, because what I did notice was those chick races. There were 2 chick races just sitting there, and then all of a sudden a B race flopped in there, and that thing filled up before the 2 chick races were even half full. And I'm just like, whew.
I
They have no
filled
problem
that
filling the B
race
races.
about as quickly as I possibly could have, and
But-
it was full. I was like,
but-
okay, see ya.
Yeah.
But it was still slower to me than, and I wasn't trying to get in though, but from looking at the counter, it seems slower than first race of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, so,
Yeah.
Oh, that first race was late.
Oh, it was
fast.
instant.
Yeah, that was insane.
mean,
yeah.
so,
Yeah. All in all,
We'll
good
see.
though.
And,
oh,
and
I
you know,
mean,
just-
I enjoyed it.
And we saw Whamole was just asking, are they counting the beta races against the experience and not chicks? For beta, yeah, but then everything, I do believe
Resets.
everything just resets
Yeah.
again.
Mhm.
Or is hidden, I guess is the way
Yeah,
they said
hidden.
it, is that it'll be hidden. And then once we go live open, full, out of beta actually, so it's not even open anymore, just flat live, then it'll all start over again. So yeah, just if your birds aren't doing so hot, like mine's not doing so hot.
Well,
Yeah,
how are yours doing with the 8 bird races compared to 12? Have you noticed a difference any?
yeah, I definitely was doing better with 8. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
because it's better chance. Yeah.
So what's interesting too is obviously we had a long period off. I think they may have made some tweaks to some things, and then we're going to see tweaks as this goes on. So if your birds are struggling today, like mine, right? I feel at some point that I'm going to catch one of the tweaks that comes back in my favor, at least hopefully. That's the plan.
Yeah, no, I think everyone just take it easy. Your birds are, some of these are actually looking like flat out all-star races. Like I got into a paid race and I pulled out my 95 teal Sarama and I was like, yeah, here we go. And there was 100 Sarama and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
So much for that.
What's funny is I finally got waiting for a B race that I could get into, and I'm eager to race the hell out of my 97 Sultan that I just grabbed. So I blopped that right into the first B race I could get into, and that was like the lowest perfection score in the whole race.
Yeah.
There was 100, there was mostly 99s and some 98s and 97s.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, this race is
Yeah.
gonna suck.
But yeah, I
And it
saw
did. I got 6.
Bob Witt asking about the 548. Yeah, there's still plenty of the 548 available. Just go and find one that's still owned by the Coop Collective official.
Mhm.
And put your 0.05 bid on there and go and grab it. We're still doing a slow rollout. We're not advertising this thing. We're not throwing it on Twitter beyond just a couple little things here and there.
Our own personal posts. We're not
Yeah.
putting any influencers on it or nothing silly like that.
Just
So
No, nothing. Yeah, we're just taking it easy. We really want, this is not something, I was talking with Crypto Poppy about this. Like, it's not something we want people to speculate on. We want people to own this because they want to own it long term and make sure this is something that, at least for, the first rounds, a couple rounds or so or whatnot, you get your value back out of it. And it's something that it becomes a stalwart for you because we really do believe in with the tournaments we're putting out that Blake's been going over, and we're close to it. We're close to getting some info out on that. We just need to see some automation and see what that's going to look like. And then we'll have a better idea of how we can announce those. And of course, poker tournament coming soon.
Things for everybody. Got racing things and tournaments and breeding things with the stud barn and, poker nights because we're all degenerates.
Bob would ask
I'll say
Cajun
it because it's
Spato
true.
if he's willing to.
And sorry, Beef Man. Sorry about them Niners.
Oh, no. Niners. What were you doing, Jimmy? Just chucking the ball, man.
Speaking
Trey
of
Lance
stud
time.
barn, we got a new addition.
yeah. You want to show it?
Yeah.
Close contact of the second kind. Yeah, beautiful little dude.
Yeah.
It is a dude, right? I think it is.
This little
Jimmy G is who we
Sarama
thought he
Lily
was. Yes, he was. He was tricking us for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, it's a good bird.
That's a
Good
good bird.
Good bird.
Good bird. Yeah, this
all
is
pink, the all pink Sarama with the alien
Mhm.
eyes rooster. To we wanted something that matched the caliber of the 97 Dusk we got. So this was a great addition that we thought was perfect. Perfect fit.
yeah. Now we have our locked in top 5 that we're really hoping to get. We're really happy about that. Like at one point when we were looking at the market and just thinking things over, we were like, man, we might have to just give like 4 or 5 ETH just to make sure we get these big boss birds to make sure that our coop is stacked. And we've got 13 birds for that price right now, which is awesome. That is beyond what we were hoping for at this point.
Yeah, we're ahead of schedule for sure.
Yeah, that was the biggest reason we wanted to get this thing out there and get the early adopters in so we could take advantage of this market and lock this thing in. And from here on out, we'll just be smart and savvy with our purchases, because we like you can see here, we have the major points right now. And we're really, really thrilled with that. Now we can focus on some values and see where to go. And, we're really, really pleased that we're going to be able to offer these guys out for breeding once the time comes.
Yep. And the list goes on. There are 13 birds in there, and there are about, what is that, 37? 37-ish to go. Yeah.
Yeah, Wally is upset.
I'm sorry,
he loves
buddy.
the aliens.
He said that was the dream bird.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bubba. Right. So, should we dive right into this week's dev blog?
I guess the only thing I think worth throwing out there is just because I know not everyone's hanging out on Twitter and not everyone's always checking everything in the Discord. The only extra little besides the promotion for the next 23 birds to get us to 100 sales to have a roll off, I think it's still 12 birds and 12 barns need to be purchased for that one. We cut a nice little deal with Crypto Poppy and the Pirates of the Metaverse. So if you
first 100.
If you own one of our NFTs, you get the whitelist. We actually have that in the 548 chat right now. It's pinned in there. There's a form that you can get the whitelist for the Pirates of the Metaverse, which looks like a really interesting, different, fun project that Poppy's putting out there. I know it's going to be on 3 different blockchains with 3 different types of NFT. Like there's some fun stuff there. And anyone that finds their way into with the first 100 gets the whitelist as well.
Yeah,
voice is starting to fall apart, so I'm gonna cut it off in just a second.
Bob Witt, we'll get to you after the show. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I see you, Greg Dalvin. We'll trade milk for Pink Alien.
Get your milk out of here. We got plenty of milk. I got my corns in the dark forest right now. We're good.
And yeah, Weekly Dice Arena, we're pretty excited about that little collaboration with Crypto Poppy. We love Poppy. He's a good dude, and we're going to give back to the chicken family, and we're pretty excited about it. So
yeah, we're going to connect with him again soon once the open beta gets closer, and talk to him again and get things going. All right, when corns right now, 2.3 floor on the corns.
Yeah,
staking.
Shadow corns.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna pause 30 seconds to give Tyler
please do
throat a break, and chill some caramel. Whatever.
Hey, yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Do you see that smooth caramel being made right there? I usually don't do this, but this project I found is going to the moon. If you're not bullish on Shotwell Candy Company, baby, you're not gonna make it. Shotwell Candy Company. Eat caramel, be awesome. Cock Talk 20. Do it.
Oh yeah, little Shotwell Candy action. I see Bob Jerry asks, any other collabs? Well, you saw one there. Enter Cock Talk 20 at Shotwell Candy Co. or shotwellcandy.com. Get yourself.
Oh yeah, we're always looking around for people that want to.
Yeah, we might have a few things in the works, but yeah, absolutely. We're always keeping our eyes open to see what's a good fit for us,
Lemon amnesia, so central. Need to light some candles and caramel, man. It's an elite duo. I'm here for it.
So yeah, the dev blog starts off with a bit of more good news. If you've not been around, they've successfully ran free race sessions every day since Monday. This was as of Friday morning. A total of 80 races and paid out about $1,434 in prize money. That was huge. And then Friday they did run the semi-successful paid races. The first one hung up and then on the payout side, and then it was about what was it, 45 minutes, hour.
Yeah, we got
And
into
then we
that
were
one.
back
Didn't we,
up.
Tyler?
Yep.
Yeah.
Me and Tyler got into that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we took the long pause of hitting the refresh button for about a good 30 minutes solid.
Yep. And then got smoked.
Yeah.
Yes. And then come to find out, we both
Completely
got blown away.
smoked.
All my birds smoked.
Yeah.
So, while you've been enjoying the racing, the devs have been constantly working in the back end. Race entry, lane assignment, the game viewer, error messages, Web3 services, APIs, the server, and more have all been improved. It's the kind of things that you won't notice, but if they're not done, the game would struggle as we grew. Excuse me. In regards to the game, we've been continuing to work in the marketplace and what features we want to see. There are so many things that we are planning to have, such as trades, auctions, sell only to friends, counter offers, but
It's going to be awesome.
already going to be quite the development task when we start. So we've had to push some of those features back to a later date, but this will allow us to deliver the marketplace sooner rather than later. I love all of those things.
Yes, all of them.
Yeah, that whole paragraph.
Yeah,
I like it.
That gets me excited for the marketplace of the future of all those the abilities and functionality that you'd be able to have on the marketplace and not have to deal with OS.
Yeah, of course. The ability to do kind of as you want, no matter who you're trying to deal with, right? So counter offers, you can only do it with friends. However you want to do it, they're pretty much giving you the ability to facilitate whatever you need to get done as far as moving your birds around.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, if you set up a only to friends part, I mean, if I here's where my brain goes with some of this. If they're able to set this stuff up in the marketplace, what will they be able to set up with their breeding barn? Will they be able to set up all of this very similar with their breeding structure?
Oh, I imagine
that would be pretty awesome. I would hope so.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of a a peek into just what their plans are with that. Because if they can run this thing and get the marketplace humming in that regard, then why wouldn't it mimic same kind of idea for the stud barn, not stud barn, for the breeding system? So I like that a lot.
Yeah, because sell breed only to friends.
Because think about this, I know if Dave were here, this would be he would probably bring this up, that in Zed you get every stud you get 3 breeds with the stud, and his biggest fear was that if you only had one, and since chickens are 1-to-1 that we know of right now, his concern would be that if it gets sniped if you were putting it out for someone specific, right? So. That would be very huge, I think, in the breeding department.
Yeah, it all needs to be more friendly than OS, and the whole concept needs to be more friendly, even more friendly than the way that they're doing it over in Zed. To actually be able to take this in your own marketplace and kind of set the parameters. I like that mainly because I think it takes away from the just throw it up there and hope. Or throw it up there and wish, and you don't know who's grabbing it or when it's being grabbed and whatnot. I like the idea that there might be some kind of actual community-driven thing or a negotiation.
Well,
or
like
something.
you just hit on a thing right there, like a community-driven thing. Like Wu-Tang Hens just brought up a really cool idea. Only to club or the cruise. Breeding and selling, so we can create the cruise in the metaverse and exclusively breed to them or offer discounts. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that would be something, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, if they're really going to focus on trying to drive the entire kind of game into the metaverse and into this marketplace, then why wouldn't you try to make these clubs and the kind of like connections and crews that you're making in there matter in that kind of way? So it seems like they put a lot of work into it. So it's my imagine that they're going to be going that direction with it.
Yeah,
and Bob Witt, they have hit on the point of possibly renting out your chickens for either breeding or racing. They just have not given us much detail on that.
Yeah, it seems like that's more of a when and not an if at this point, but we don't really know exactly when.
I'm sure it's further down the line. Once we're pretty deep into breeding and the bird population is pretty thick, and you're want to rent out a good 20 birds or whatever out of your coop.
Yeah, especially if like it's one of those where you want to get into like one of the bigger tournaments of the year, or wherever
sure.
that's being done, and it's like, yeah, I'll rent a big bird and take a shot at this big tournament and see what happens, and or just be able to rent. Just the idea that I'll be able to rent a robot and run it and see how it goes, just for the fun of it. Like, so yeah, I like that idea a lot. And that's a passive income for us that hold these spicy birds.
Yeah. It's a whole different animal as far as what they would have to do, because especially, we're talking about customization of breeding, right? Well, how much customization goes into that, right? So I think that's further down the line than even the marketplace, metaverse, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I think renting I think it would be a great feature to add to the game at some point.
Yeah, it's just all about the contract and everything that would have to go with that, and the parameters within that, like time, if there's time limits on things like that, or 30 days would kind of be wild, I think.
And do you get a 10%?
That would also be wild.
Yeah.
If you got my chicken for a month, man.
like what if I want to rent it out?
Yeah.
What if I
Don't make me laugh. I'll start coughing.
Oh, sorry.
What if you want to rent it out, but you want 10% of the earnings from any races that are ran, right? Or whatever kind of deal you make.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Then speaking of that, earnings and such, also while you're here, if you're new here, like and subscribe to the show. We love that. Check out other things that we've got going on. As you see the website up top, coopcollective.io. We're still working on getting that fully geared up. But the next thing I wanted to hit on here in the dev blog is the rake they're talking about taking. And I like to see this as well.
Yeah.
They're considering a 2% rake. For reference, their OpenSea rake is 2.5% goes to OpenSea. 2.5 goes to OpenSea and 1 goes to Chicken Derby.
So it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah, so they want people to be trading chickens as much as possible, so they can bring more people into the community. And going for that rake is, in their opinion, the best way to do it.
Well, and it's cheaper. It's cheaper every transaction you make if they do that, because right now 3.5%. Us as our individual traders, we lose that 3.5% every time, right?
Yeah, and if they're upping their take, essentially they're doubling their take.
But we're saving.
But we're saving. I just hope to see that extra percent really is something that helps fund a lot of the free races and all that stuff too. That gets kicked back. That's probably part of the plan, to do that and make sure that free races can have something that's worth. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep going with giving out the. I think, what are they doing, like $30 every free race right now, something around those lines, like
something along those lines.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I like it. I really like to see the fact that they can take that and help us out a little bit by cutting it down by 1.5 and then getting us something else, getting that kick back into the community again.
And Bob Witt, there are going to be cooldowns. We're not sure what type of cooldowns. As far as your question on, did the team talk about any breeding delays to control the chicken inflation? There will be cooldowns, but we don't know any parameters on those.
There's been discussion about the better breeding you get long term will actually yield some better results long term if you're doing smart breeding.
Longer cooldown equals a better possible bird.
Yeah, they haven't exactly given us the very vague comment the way they said it, but it was at least something to go off of. So I guess we'll see as that rolls around any kind of little nuggets they decide to give us there, which they'll keep close to the vest, but whatever we get, we'll try to break down best we can.
To answer Rathmar's question as well, that what they're talking about there is taking the chickens completely off of OpenSea and moving it into their own built-in system. That's where the 2% would come into play. So they're not saying that they're going to change the rake on OpenSea currently from the 1% to 2%. They're saying that once it's migrated over to the metaverse, the Chicken Derby metaverse, then that is the 2% that they're referring to.
It'll be a flat 2% opposed to a 3.5 that we could hit because OpenSea is 2.5 and they're 1. So
correct.
In the end, it will go down by 1.5 because it'll be independent, which is good.
Correct.
And just get me away from OS.
Bobby Witt with all the questions. Win token. That's down the road sometime.
Yeah, that's on the back end of their. That's on the back end of their.
Probably
roadmap.
around renting. Those
Probably,
two are probably in the same time frame.
And that brings up a interesting thing that I might bring up later on that. But
you'll probably forget.
Teaser.
I'll forget in 11 seconds.
Yeah.
What was that thing we said?
Here is a new just the beginning of a animation of the Dig talent.
Yeah, Weekly Dice said this was the most disappointing one yet. This doesn't sell Dig yet. Obviously, it's only one half of it, but yeah.
Oh, it's just the beginning.
I
mean, I imagine there's going to be a whole trench, right?
It trenches out. I imagine there's a little molehill going on as Bugs Bunny hill, you know.
Right, yeah. Hopefully.
And then he pops out.
And then you're going to be pissed when your bird gets passed by something underground. That's going to be irritating.
You never know where it's going to pop out or if it's going to affect other people when it pops out, if it screws up the ground next to people as it goes by. We'll see. We'll see what that full animation looks like. But yeah, at the moment, it's just ostriging itself into the ground.
You do a Street Fighter uppercut out of the hole. The 360.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. Yeah.
Tremors. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, they do know that this is only the start of it. After this, your chicken will burrow underground, accelerate towards the front, popping up afterwards towards the front. I'm curious how far that is up to the front. If that doesn't specify.
Depends how far back are you whenever it hits.
Yeah.
That's
another thing I've always been curious on. Again,
my birds have been way far back at some point of these races. Mm-hmm. So if I have Dig, it does not matter. He is not getting to the front. He might get up on the screen, but he's not getting to the front.
Yeah. So yeah, last week they shared with you one of the houses that your crew could be hanging it out in the metaverse, and here's a little more for you on that. Nice little Egyptian.
Yeah,
house,
Aztec.
The tree house. I like that. They plan to have 12 different styles available, all of which a variety of different add-ons to make it your place your own.
Do they have a mushroom house for you?
I hope. When
if not, get on it, guys.
When psilocybe treehouse. Psilocybin. There you go.
All right. So, by the way, we are giving away one of our 548 NFTs tonight, and I went ahead and started that up for a little 20-minute timer.
Ooh.
This is open for everybody.
Ooh, a little sneaky in.
Everybody tonight. Yeah. I figured we might as well get in there, get a little bit of time, get people in there and give a shot at it. Yeah. Hopefully this gets someone new in, if not, or, if anyone that's been hasn't found their way there yet. Hope you get in there, and we've minted the last 48 now, so we'll start slowly giving those out as we go. So the full collection is minted. So if you are trying to find a new one on there, make sure it's just between 1 and 500. 501 to 548 are the giveaway ones, but yeah, hop in there now. It's in our giveaway spot in right under information at hashtag giveaways, and pop in there and get a shot at. We got 20 minutes.
Yeah, and after the race session that we had that Friday, Deli dropped a little update on the status of their open beta. And you see here they've got the first one, number 1, crossed off, and then they hit number 2. Number 2 is actually have races that are manually added running stable. 3 consecutive race sessions without any serious bugs. Status 0 of 3. Now that we have paid races working, start working on this goal. Due to the issue at the start of today's session with the failed transactions, we were unable to count today as a success. And actually, I like seeing that they call that out as a failure. Even though it was a little, I see that as a hiccup. They got it back up and on.
It was one race, right? They actually ran a bunch of successful races, but for them to say it was an unsuccessful day by their measurement of their counter, obviously they're wanting to get 3 in a row, right? So this is a good outline of what I think we can expect to see this week, right, as goals. Dave said before goals were 100 races in a week. I think we got pretty close. What did we end up with?
100.
Yeah, they
Right at
was.
100. Right at
Yeah,
100,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So now if we can get 3 straight days where there's no glitches or no hiccups, then I like that they're showing us this so that we have an idea of their timeline, right?
Yeah. And then the next step would be to increase the numbers of users to private beta. They are yet to start that. And then development of the automatic race generation, which is the next massive hurdle, I feel, before we can hit 24/7 races, obviously. And they are working on that. It says here development has begun. And then have automatic race generation running stable, runs for 1 week without any serious bugs
there you
yet
go.
to start. Once we hit that mark, open public racing.
Yeah, and the only thing that you can do right now to get yourself into the, as Weekday says, a volunteer's tribute, to get into private beta, all you can do is just make sure you're verified in the main Chicken Derby chat, and make sure you have your wall connected, and they're going to slowly start adding them as we go. Now, this end of the month, we're here. We're 1 day off the end of the month. Doesn't look like open beta is going to be right away here at the end of the month, but we have had some really good steps, which we're happy to see. I think for the most part, people are pretty satisfied to see the racing. And we saw paid racing on Friday, which was huge. And I'm hoping that this week upcoming,
I'll say this too. I think part of what we were told is if everything ran 100% perfect. And I think that's kind of was part of some of the things that was left maybe a little unsaid as far as that goes. But I think that we are right there. I mean, we are very close to getting the public that isn't in the closed beta available to race their own birds. And once we do that, I think that's a huge step forwards.
Yeah, this week, basically, if we can just get through another nice paid race week, then it's right there. It really is right there. So there's not a whole lot of other things besides just seeing what the automation looks like. So yeah, we're close on the edge there, and I'm just I'm pleased to see it's moving along. Obviously, those of us that are in the closed beta are getting ourselves into some races, and with the change to bringing up chick races, and I'm out of chick birds. A lot of people are out of chick birds now, so you're actually going to have a shot to get in for just chick races and bee races and whatnot. So it's right around the corner. It just seems like everything has been running pretty well, and I'm satisfied with that, even though it does seem like we are going to fall just short of actual end of the month open beta.
So yeah, I dropped the link there in the chat to get into our Discord, and just head into our giveaway channel under information and click the celebration emote giveaway under the giveaway bot for a 548 NFT. Ends in about 16 minutes. See about 20 people in there so far. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's excellent.
Yep.
So next, man, did we just want to start rolling into some theory talk?
Well, yeah, like one thing I did want to kind of get into was just, and yeah, of course, I'm dusting off my soapbox and I'm standing up on the pulpit, and I'm going to do a little bit of more talk about talents. But just kind of looking at the way these races have been kind of fleshing themselves out, there's not a whole lot of crazy lead changes going on. There's some fading at the end. There's some early leads that fall apart. And at the end, it seems like there's been a couple races where there are flat out like 6 birds at the finish line, and I have no idea. I missed out on a third place finish by 0.01, and I had no clue. Like I could have very easily won that race, and I ended up getting 4th, which is cool. I like seeing that. But these races look to me like they are absolutely setting up for the major, big, fun part, the major lead changes to be from the talents.
Yeah, I think that's going to be part of it. Another piece of it too, the reason why I think they're a lot spread out right now is because everybody's running in the same pecking order for the most part, right?
Yeah.
All birds. Once they get spread out, you have A, B, and C, and they're clearly defined. Your top end A birds, you're obviously going to have some that bounce back and forth, right? But you're going to know who's the cream of the crop of each individual class, right? And I think that is gonna, but once they're all running in their same class, it's gonna shrink those races down to where they're a lot closer, and you're gonna see maybe more lead changes. Add in talents,
That's a good point.
you're gonna see even more lead changes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Like you were
so.
saying earlier, like Dig ain't gonna cut it if you're off the screen, you know.
Right.
But
well, now that's the second piece here, because no matter what, camera angles have got to change.
yeah,
right?
and they're working on that.
yeah,
I've
they
noticed
said
that
they're working on it.
They've mentioned that they are working on adding a better camera feature for that.
A few different versions or angles, maybe, or maybe the ability to watch a particular bird the whole time would be maybe even,
or to zoom out,
decent.
or to select a section of the track. You know, if you could click on, you know, if you pick any bird, it just jumps to
Yep.
it on the view. Right?
Got to have when we're watching the replays, I understand not live, but if you're watching the replay, I think fast forward, pause, rewind, got to be
like if you made the running order that runs up on the left-hand side of the chicken's name, if you could click on it and it would jump to the
and just
chicken.
exactly,
something like that.
But, and then I also think that you got to be able to speed up the birds in watching the replays. I get some people think that the birds are still a little too slow right now. I think they might be, but once you add in talents, there's going to be video clips and things like that are going to take up the monotony of just the running of the birds. But go ahead.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Wu-Tang brings up a good point that actually I brought this up a long time ago when we were theorizing about this, and that of the fact of if the distance gained from a talent like dig or teleport is variable have a variable range, and I was curious if that was also tied to like your perfection score.
We know that some have a variable. Machete said 2 or 3 would be impacted, right? Or
Cajun Tomato said, like, if you're on the right terrain, does your talent actually have a better effect?
Yeah, like
or
dig probably ain't working on rock
or
well.
road. Road dig on
before.
road. Dig on road probably not going to be.
Multiple talents deployed at once. Damn it!
I would
Pete,
love
ask
it.
us.
I would love it. I want to see. I want to see. I want to see somebody get hit with a talent while they're in the middle of a talent by a better talent. So, like, I want to see somebody in dig their way into a black hole.
Yeah. Or dig underneath it and go.
Go fall into it. Whoop. Oh, they dug into the hole.
Oh, damn it, Pete. But yeah, Ross Weekly Dice was saying the percentage chance for a critical teleport distance, so a critical hit based on how that's, of course, talking about dice rolls here, but yeah, that same concept of just did it turn out to be the best that talent could
consistency,
right? That's another thing we don't know of how that's going to
so if I run my bird over and over again, does their dig get less distance on it over time because it gets worn out, can't dig as far?
This is why we need Dave here to tell us we were talking about coding nightmares, but we might not, though. It all depends if it's being broken down and they're talking about consistency the way they are.
It's just about changing the points. So basically, your bird is not as good this race because it's inconsistent. It's consistency's taking a hit due to whatever the factors are. Who knows? I don't know how.
Come on, let that tinfoil flow. We don't have Daddy here to shut us down.
Well, I mean, is it something like?
I think everyone's gonna have a talent every race.
If you run a bird 10 times in a week, does it impact it in any way? You know what I'm saying? If you keep running the same bird, so this would also keep the best birds from entering 100 races and winning 60%. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Because at some point, if even if it's the best bird, you enter 10 races in a week or whatever their threshold is, it's going to be impacted in some way by that consistency.
Well, this is a big thing that I've brought up, and I see Ross ask it kind of too. How consistent do you want birds to be? Well, I think if the bird has a high consistency, I feel like that bird would have a higher probability of its talent going off. Perhaps.
Yeah,
if you got a really consistent bird,
Yeah, but we really don't know. We still break down the idea of the rarity of the talents and how that's going to play, and it has to play in some fashion. Like just because it's a cooler looking talent, like devolution is really cool, but in the end, if it's a rarer talent, it's got to do either more damage, it's got to either deploy more often, or give you some type of a advantage over just machete or anything.
Is it impact? Imagine we got 12 birds in a race.
Yeah,
if that devolution was to impact more birds, right?
Yeah, is it the bite to the left and right? Was it when it runs? Yeah.
Well, that's a good point.
Go ahead. You finished.
Well,
your
I was
point.
gonna say, because onto that point, we were talking about these spread out birds. If you get devolution at the and you're the lead bird and you're way out in front, are you gonna wait for the pack to catch up so you can jump on them? That would kind of suck.
I would imagine your bird would run faster too.
Yeah, but there's just nothing to eat. There's nobody to.
Well, you're kind of right. Like Lemon Amnesia was asking, like, can we trigger the talents, and we can't. So they are random. Like, we don't know if that's going to happen later on down the road in a specific type of mini game of some sorts or race type. But
cool.
Yeah, but in this regard, we're not. So it is going to come down to, like, when that goes off, will it be the right time? Will it be the most advantageous time for that to go off? And does it still affect, like with helicopter, you get on the helicopter and then it takes you forward and then you shoot the rocket backwards. So, like, that rocket's going to hit somebody.
Yeah.
But whether it's going to be you're way ahead and it'll go back and get somebody, or you're in last place, it'll push you into the middle of the pack and hit somebody. So when those go off,
somebody asked a real question: how consistent do we want the birds to be? I think it would depend on how you treat the birds. That's what I'm saying. Is if you're overrunning them, overbreeding them, they should not perform as consistently on the track.
Or running them on the wrong track.
I do recall, though, them saying that breeding would not interfere with racing as far as the bird.
Well, there's a cooldown, so it automatically interferes with racing. You can't run that bird while it's in a cooldown.
They didn't say that.
It specifies where they're at. They're in the barn. There's even a spot on the.
Yeah, I know, but I remember a comment saying that bird, like, you will still be able, like, to race after, like, I think the cooldown does not affect the racing side of the bird. It's just a cooldown for the breeding. I'm pretty sure.
Did you remember if we'd be able to race when they're actually breeding? I think that was the only.
I don't know.
I think that was the only part of
for sure, but I feel like I remember that comment.
Yeah, this is the only thing about the way that the info is kind of dropped in the chat.
I hope they don't go that way, to be honest. I hope that it is that they're stuck in that spot, because it adds more strategy. If there's a big tournament coming out to play, I might not want to breed that bird.
Yeah, I don't think that any breeding would affect any of the racing, and I feel like that's why I remember
anything you can do to limit the breeding without putting a cap or a specific limit on it in itself. Anything that will limit us from breeding as much is better overall for the game.
Yeah, and if they're up to stud, and I don't think they can race.
No, so and I agree with that, but I don't think the cooldown period affects them from racing. I think that was said.
Well, and at least it's been indicated so far.
I want to hit this point before I forget. With talents, what if your talent deploys more on your preferred terrain? Now think about this.
Yeah,
if you have a dig talent and your preferred terrain would obviously be like dirt
or sand.
Maybe it goes off more, or
that's a good thought.
It might go off more if you're on your preferred track. I don't know. That's my tinfoil. That's my theory of the night.
Didn't think about that one.
The biggest thing for me has always been with talents is, once I understand how they're going to do the deployment percentage, then we'll be able to figure out a lot. Because if the deployment percentage is equal across every single talent based on the chicken that is running, then there has to be another advantage that's substantiated somewhere else. So if it's not, if you see the ones, but then again, if you have, black hole going off way more often, then that bird's going to kick ass. Now there's not that many of them, so you're not going to run into it very often.
But again,
but still,
it could go off often as it races, but if it gets over raced, that consistency hit
Sure.
could affect
Sure.
that.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I'm saying, Pete.
Threading the
Dig
needle on that,
road
yeah.
or rock, probably not going very well.
Yeah.
Royal Procession
there are
and
3 minutes
sand,
left
probably
to get
not
into
good.
the Coop Collective 548 barn giveaway. If you're just showing up, make sure you jump into the chat. There's a link right there. Hit the giveaway channel, react, and that will pick a winner here shortly.
Spiver. No, Spiver. Stop it.
Yeah, we got rid of Dave. Dead weight. He's out of here. It's wow.
We love Dave.
3 of 3 now.
He has
Back to being
he
the
got
silent
frostbite.
partner.
He got frostbite today out of the soccer game.
Yeah, he's from Canada. It's cold up there.
They had to take some 2 days to recover after they spend
Yeah.
6 hours outside.
I
Not,
see
at the
6
thaw.
butters.
yeah, it's like 0 wind chill where I am in Delaware. So I mean, it's not. I'm sure it's warmer in freaking Canada right now. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
As he would state, he's lower probably than you are.
yeah,
on
it's
the-
terrible.
So,
I
yeah.
looked there. I thought Fledge won again. I was gonna kick him out.
Oh, geez.
I saw that sitting there. It could still happen, but I saw congratulations Fledge. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
No.
You lucky son of
Imagine.
Love you, Fledge.
Any
Spiver, I saw your
tinfoil-
comment
Bob
about
Jerry's
potholes, too.
asking any tinfoil theories on how to breed stronger birds. Like, we won't know, I guess, until we can start being mad scientists out there in the breeding.
Yeah,
But we were doing the thing. We were speculating on the idea of like, we have 2 black chickens in our stud barn, and it's like if every or 2 purebred spicy black chickens always going to make a black chicken. If that's the case, then we'll be talking to y'all about possibly giving some away and doing that when we can, because that's an interesting giveaway to make sure we can always have that. So yeah, I'm thinking keeping lineage close together is probably going to help.
Yep.
I think it's going to be percentage based. I think that you breed those black chickens together and it might be a higher percent than whether you just bred that black chicken, say but it may, I don't know. It may,
but there's
depends
so
on
few
the
of
bird.
them. That's in that regard, there's so few of them that like you do need black chickens to still populate. So
Yeah, of course.
Mhm.
yeah, it just all depends on how it's going to pop out like that. It's
Gonna
it's something
spit
I
out a
can't
winner
wait to
here
get
in
just like
second.
a little bit of information on. Just give us something there once we get closer, and then we'll be able to really dig into that idea. Because I've had the theory that the only chickens ever that will have the matching comb and waddle will be the spicy chicken, but we don't know that yet.
Lauren 13.
All right, I think that's
Hey.
someone new.
That is new.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
It's good to see. Lauren 13. All right. Good stuff. Yeah, just Lauren 13, hit us up in the Discord. Let us know that you saw you won our Coop Collective 540 NFT, and we'll get you locked into the 548 channel. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. Woo.
It
Love it.
wasn't Fledge. Not that it's a bad thing it was Fledge, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyway.
Negative 26 in Ontario. Okay, never mind.
That's
I'll shut up
Celsius. I don't know.
Oh,
what that
right.
is.
That real temperature that makes sense. When 0 means 0.
We speak Fahrenheit around here.
We're special.
that.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Any more theories, boys?
What were you gonna? Did you bring up what you were
Yeah,
gonna
did
bring
you get
up
to your
earlier?
point that you
You were
bailed
saying you
on?
were gonna bring it up later.
What was it?
I don't know.
I knew it. I knew it.
You were like, I actually might bring that up later and then I'll forget.
I told you I'd forget.
Ah, son of a- you should've
Was
at
it
least
something
said
about talents? Was it the thing about talents, or was it something else?
Son of a bitch.
No.
So here-
Speaking on the
Nope.
races though and the links, I think they I think I'd like to see more, the come from behind wins or something like that.
Yeah.
Or I haven't seen many of those in the replays that I've been watching, like a chicken that just comes out of nowhere,
We had
There's-
them a little more earlier on. I don't know
There's
what
seen
that
tight
change
ones.
is, but
There's
Yeah.
two new.
races, but
There's 2 new animations that we've seen in this new set, which is more of a a sprinting chicken and then
The
a
new-
tired
the new
chicken,
Rudo run.
Yeah.
right? But he's getting his flap on, right?
The only thing that bothers me a little bit about that is sometimes you see the sprint happen
And then they're
And
falling back.
they lose power. So it's like, yeah, there maybe something still needs to be touched
Because
up there.
if you look though, a lot of the here's another thing. A lot of the chickens start sprinting at the same time. So
They
it's
all
like
do
they're
towards the
Yeah.
end.
they're
By the end of the
triggered to-
race, they're all doing that full-on sprint. Now, I
Yeah.
think what would be funny, or not funny, but like, could that animation start earlier in a race for some chickens?
I think it
when
should
then they
be.
get
I think it should be
tired
more
or
random.
something?
Yeah.
Right.
Instead of them all saying, let's say 6 out of 12 birds are going to start sprinting at the 100-meter mark, right? I think that seems how it's set right now, right? Whereas I think it could be more randomized throughout the race where they start sprinting, or maybe this bird just had a bad race and he's going to
Now you
sprint
see,
and then fall back.
you
know.
do see some variation if, like, when they're all sitting there, when they're all like running in unison with each other, you do see some separation here and there of like one chicken gaining on another. But
Yeah.
I think I'd like to see a little more of that, like see a chicken that's in the back and he's just trucking, like they're all trucking, but he's gaining.
Some more
on them.
dynamics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like at the moment, it's kind of difficult to like sometimes you really have to like stare and
Yeah.
be like, am I moving backwards or forwards?
Yeah.
Like it's really hard to
Yeah.
figure out, so like that's the only thing that I was kind of hoping to see just a
One-
little bit,
One kind of suggestion I'll say that I wish they would do is as some of these races start to not feel as much like these chick races set. But I think if once it hits 8, it should start a timer, like 5 minutes. If that race doesn't fill to 12, then it starts at 8, and that's an 8-bird race to run that race.
contract wise, I'm not sure if that
I don't think they can do.
it might be
that,
set.
but-
Like the contract may be put in to be set for 12.
Is that-
So yeah,
So
that's
they're
the only
having
thing I
to.
think
So
might-
are they going to then? Are they going to have it consistently be 12, or are we going to see a mixture of 8 and 12?
probably both.
I think it's a mixture of 8 and
So you
12.
think that
Yeah.
they're going to have 2 or 4
Because-
separate contracts essentially?
yeah,
The free
because
races for the 8 and 12 each, and then the paid races for the 8 and 12 each.
yeah, because 12 bird races is a little bit more of a gamble, and a little bit higher of a payout. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of that in there based on how you want to kind of craft your gambling in that, and how
One
you
thing
wanna
I wish
put it
was
there.
more clear is if it showed it better to make it more clear if this is an 8-bird versus a 12-bird, rather than, I mean, the only way you can really see is by clicking on it and then checking to see who's filled.
Well, then they may cut that back to just 3 maybe all free races are just 12 chickens. Because I imagine those free races are going to just be slamming full instantly the
Yeah.
second they
Mhm.
pop up.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
here
mean,
we
there's no
go.
reason to even mess around with a 8 chicken free race when you can just make them all 12 and be done.
Yeah. Okay. Bob Jerry went back and found the actual write up from back in August about cooldown periods from Apex. Cooldown period gradually increase after each time you breed. So if you breed many times, the cooldown will become longer, but the output of chicken will give a higher chance for a good chicken. So
it doesn't really answer the question of are they going to be able
And
to
that was-
race during?
Yeah.
I mean, and here's maybe, I don't know, maybe that cooldown is just specifically for breeding, but I think there's going to be a period where they're unavailable to race due to whatever situation breeding wise that they're in. Otherwise, I don't think they would differentiate between where your chicken's located. Does that make sense?
yeah, I mean, if they're set the stud, then I'm pretty sure you can't touch them. I'm pretty sure that everything's locked in there, but we don't know how long that will be. Like what will be the actual time frame needed to be put into the stud barn and stay there until it comes out. So that's another indicator we'll have to figure out.
Yeah.
What was and it's funny. Wu-Tang said he's going to slam every free race for underperforming birds. And man, I just really hope that they figure out a way to make sure that even underperforming birds have some type of avenue to being decent, especially the spicy. I get it. Not every bird can be profitable in this game. And even if you maximize it perfectly, it probably the numbers just don't play out. It's a zero-sum game in that regard. So, but I would like there to be ways that you could still make that bird be somewhat profitable. There's something there.
Certain situations, right?
Yeah, like, and that's where the cosmetics could come in and be a nice part too. Like, okay, maybe your lizard eye doesn't really race well, but lizard eye does have some type of effect on either talent deflection or something in a race. So it still might be something people want to breed with. It might just be because it's cool, being able to look at that. People love that.
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
we're going to make
Spicy's
sure, obviously,
Genesis,
with our tournaments that we're going to incorporate the lower end birds. Like I said, we've mentioned before some ideas about doing some crazy races where maybe even paying bottom up, right?
Yeah, last place of the tournament wins or something silly like that, or like do a middle, like do it in thirds, do the top, the middle, and the bottom tier. Like
one thing I'm interested to see is on these private type of races, how is your bird's stats affected? Are they affected at all, or are the private races kind of off the stat records? Does that make sense? So because the middle spots of the bird or of each race don't, the PO, they don't move, right? We kind of had a talk in one of our chats about the difference of between the 1 and 8 birds, the breakdown of the POs changing. Whereas if it's a 12 bird race, you're going to see like 4 through 9th at a 0, right?
Yeah. I'm hoping that's what I'm hoping for there. Yeah. Just if you're in the middle, then so be it.
But how are we there's going to be tournaments and stuff like that where we can reward that 4 through 9 spot.
Oh yeah.
Whereas
no doubt,
especially if it's not, or if it is counting, your stats do count, we're able to still
for all those eye-shaped chickens out there like mine.
Yeah. and I know Zed's been doing a bit more of that too, and it's good because there's got to be we're all here to win, absolutely, but if there's just more fun ways to do it, you don't have to compete in those tournaments, and that's what's awesome about it. If you don't want to compete in a tournament where we're even going to do like loser tournaments where you purposely try to put in the worst bird, and that's probably going to rub some people the wrong way and want nothing to do with it. That's cool.
But we're going to know.
Yeah,
you're going to know getting in, probably throw in your worst bird, right? That's
on the worst track and everything. Yeah,
the perfect time to run the birds that you're probably not running a lot anyways, right?
Run
that's
down the
point.
Pine and see who's been
that's
sitting there for a while and be like, hey, Hennifer Lopez, you're in. Shout out Dave. Poor Hennifer.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they can come up with the ability for us to implement any type of a custom race option, I mean, that could be huge. That could be, I mean, not to the point to where they would all have to be paid, I would imagine, right, in order to fill up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because if you have free, they could just spam them and race their chickens and figure out the game. But as long as they're all, as long as they're all paid races and we could get to a customizable point with those, I think that would be huge. Just setting up races of like bad chicken races or. Yeah.
Well, 2 things from the chat. Wu-Tang saying mini games could play into the part of giving slow racers some kind of value. Really do hope, like we've already seen Gaming Cafe. We already know that's something that they had written up in their metaverse sketches. So I am hoping there is a fair amount of that, and that that based on that original Crypto Poppy Benjamin video, that they are looking to spread this out to something much more down the road to keep your birds and the Genesis bird, the spicy bird, being super valuable in that long term. That's why I'm super bullish on all of them, even the 90 bases Dorkings. Like I'm still thinking that there's got to be something there for you guys having these birds, because in the end there's going to be a lot of just wait until we see even a crispy 70 on the market and what that goes for. Like it's going to be weird to see that crispy 70 sitting on the market and just exactly what that'll be its purpose. But and then the last thing, I think it was, I'm having trouble here. Bob Whip was saying, could we burn 2 birds for a chance at a better bird? And they did say you can't kill birds yet, but I
get in trouble for this.
Don't
get in trouble for this.
Please do not dig
retiring
up the
birds.
retiring birds bit.
No, it wasn't retiring. I was simply saying something like this, where you're going to have claiming races to where the shit birds that are running, somebody has a chance to buy those before the race. If they're not bought, then you burn them and maybe you get something back in game. Or we're talking about low on the generational pyramids, right? Or on the so I'm not talking about spices. Don't everybody freak out about me saying that we're going to burn spices. No, but as the birds get more, when there's thousands of birds,
Lake's got to take your birds.
I think once we get to the part of like the tokenomics of the game down the road, and once there's an in-game currency that you will probably be able, like there's a poultry shack that you take or the tendy farm where you take your chicken and you trade them in for in-game currency and they get turned into rotisserie boxes. Something along those lines. I could see that down the road. There has to be something that can limit the population, because you don't want 10 crispy chicken, a perfection score 10 crispy chicken running around. Or I can't imagine do they have no feathers, or do they look really bad? Poor sickly chickens.
Yes.
I don't know.
They run with a limp.
Something. Got one leg.
Hobble.
We got no eye chicken. Maybe we'll have one leg chicken.
Don't you put Stevie Wonderfowl on that department.
Still not to tank the bird, but I would just love to see Stevie Wonderfowl just run straight into other birds and fall off.
Well,
we really would. I know
poor Stevie. He can't ever breed. The minute that poor Stevie breeds with anybody is going to ruin it, because then they're going to have eyes for every baby.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, though.
He has to be celibate for his whole life.
Can we get some Ray Charles glasses airdrop directly to Stevie Wonderfowl so we can equip that bird?
He needs a one-of-one cosmetic.
Yes.
Oh, it would be great
cosmetic for a one-of-one bird.
This is getting really niche and probably can't happen, but it'd be great if every bird that gets bred through Stevie is an eye patch.
Oh, that would be awesome.
You only get one.
They could probably tweak that.
Oh my gosh, yes. An eye patch bird yes. That would be awesome.
Oh, pretty good.
That wraps up the tinfoil. No. Whoop, double hit it. Yeah, so that was our show this week. We're really hoping that, this week they will, ramp up more racing, and hopefully, like I said earlier in the show, we get a little bit of a mix of the class, a little more mix of class races, a little more B class races, maybe see some A's out there for those that got some A chickens. And see this thing kind of, ramp up a little bit. Without Dave, we are going to be taking off for the night. So I am at Grateful Coops. Yeah, that was a terrible transition. Sorry.
Terrible transition. Just a touch of housekeeping before you
Dave
totally just kick us out of here. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure if you have one of our 548 Coop Collective NFTs that you've taken advantage of the Pirates of the Metaverse whitelist that we put together. We have the form in there. It'll give you the gunner roll in their Discord, and when you play the slot game, it'll give you some chances to win some fun things. I know Crypto Poppy put out an eye patch bird from his own collection just recently there, so that's really cool.
He gave that away just the other day, right?
Awesome, yeah. Check that out. Obviously, the next 12 people that purchase into the 548 NFT will be put into the wheel.
It should be 11 now. I think
11 now, yeah.
One on here, right?
I think you're right, yeah.
So it's going to be down to 11. So
yep. So to take a look at that and get yourself in there, and as soon as we have that filled, as soon as we get to 100 total sales there, we will run that wheel on the next show. And beyond that, thanks for hanging around. Thanks for bringing in the early support, and we really hope you like the stud barn because we're proud of it.
Yeah, and more news here in a couple of weeks on some exciting stuff, so stay tuned.
Poker.
Ooh, poker.
You guys like poker?
Poker for birds.
Ooh, I'm going all in every single hand, guys, so I'm just gonna run you guys out.
You can't play.
We are debating. I would be curious to see, because I think we should play and have a bounty on our heads, and if we win, then it rolls over or whatever. But if not, we'll play on our own separate table.
I like the idea of having specific poker tournaments where there's bounties on our heads where we can't win anything, but if you knock us out, maybe you get something extra.
I like that.
Like a tournament entry or something cool like that.
Yeah.
So, just so we can play with you guys too. We're not trying to win our own money back. We just want to play because it's fun.
I'm just trying to,
because I'm a degenerate.
Yeah.
Win poker indeed, fam.
I gotta feel the rush.
All right. Well, you guys can always find us in the Chicken Coop chat, and if you can't, you ask us for a link to get into the Coop Collective Discord, or you can find it in the information on this video. I am at Grateful Coops. I have MBF Express above me and Wada Wada Racing on the left. We will see you guys next week. Goodbye.
see ya.